Let's start with autism in the brain.
In terms of the genetics of it, it seems, and even if you look at people who have autism, the penetrance or the intensity or the degree of symptoms that people have varies intensely, and even the type of symptoms that people experience and how they manifest is very broad, and so that by definition seems to imply that there's going to be multiple causations. And when we talk about penetrance genetically essentially means that there's a greater degree of illness. And so the greater the penetrance, the more significant the symptoms, right? Mm-hmm. So what can explain that? Well, one of the things that would make sense, and there, I've heard at one point that there's maybe 20 genes that contribute to autism spectrum. So if you have 3 of those genes, you might be quirky, mm-hmm. but you don't really actually have autism spectrum, right? You don't even meet criteria for it, but you might be quirky.
Right.
And so I don't know that anyone's ever defined, I'm just like throwing these numbers out of the air, right? But the principle might be like, if you have these certain genes, then if you have 8 or more, then you have autism. But if you have this one, then you have 5 or more. And so it's, again, the diagnostic or the application of the just genetic theory is going to be very complicated in and of itself, right? Mm-hmm. Now, there's probably also environmental factors. And so that further complicates the presentation, right? And environmental factors could be exposures to certain medications or certain things in our environment. Is it possible that there's also behavioral exposures where kids don't get certain interactions? Can that contribute? Maybe. I mean, some of these things we just don't really know.